Hi everyone. This demo will show you how to create a simple WCF application. We start with a service and then we'll create a web application using that service, and I'm going to convert this service into a RESTful service. Alright, so we'll start with the Visual Studio 2010, create a new project using C# WCF application using a WCF service application template. By default, the Visual Studio will create two services for you already. One is get data that will expect a simple integer value as input, and it's just basically echo that back to you. The other one is a bit more complicated using a composite data type, which we'll not go into this time. But if you want to think of a composite as just a structure in C, you can see that this is basically just providing a structure of multiple elements into this service. But we'll concentrate on this get data using just one very simple input value. So when I run this without doing anything, it will automatically create the service. Oh, actually before that I have to click on this service1.svc. It'll give you the WSDL, the web service description language, which you can take a look. That includes all the XML tags for describing the service. And basically now the service is running, and to use it, it already gives you some idea how to do it. You just basically have to say service1 client, create this thing, and then you'll be able to use the client with the services. Okay, we'll see how we can do this in a minute. Alright, so the service is there already without entering anything, without typing any code. So let's go and create our web application that will use this service. So in the same solution, I'm going to add a new project. This is a web application. It's an empty web application, so make it nice and clean. Web application now has nothing in there, so I'm going to right click this and add a new item, which is a web form with webform.aspx. Alright, so this is it. I don't really need to do anything here, but actually I'm going to just type in something to make this look a little bit nicer. This is a style using a CSS style sheet, and then I'm going to set the body to have a width to be 600 pixels to center everything, and the margin to be auto. Alright, so in the design view now, I can type in something like WCF Demo. I can type in something like input value. It's going to be provided by the user through this text box, and then I'm going to create a button here for the user to click on to call the WCF service, and finally provide a label to echo the output. So initially there's nothing there, right? Alright, so this is my web application. To connect the web application to the service, I need to right click this one, add the service reference by discovering what is available. Visual Studio is smart enough to know that service1.svc is available, giving it a service reference 1 as a namespace. Alright, so this is how you connect between the application and the web service or WCF service. Alright, let's see how we can go to the code behind file to work with this service. So service reference 1 dot, remember this service 1 client. Okay, this is how you're going to connect this client with the WCF service. Now one last line, label1.text is going to take client. Okay, I'm going to use a get data. That's the service that's been provided for you through the Visual Studio template. It's expecting an integer, but my text box is going to be string. So all I have to do is do a convert dot to integer 32. Whatever the text box 1 is going to be to have the value from the user. All right. So that's all I need to do. Now I run it. By default, the service will start first. As service1.svc, same as before. Now I go back to my Visual Studio, click on the web application one, right click on it, and start a new instance through the debug menu. And the default form now is webform1.aspx. I can type in a number now because web service, the WCF service is expecting an integer, so 777. Call WCF, and it echoes back, you enter 777. And this, you enter 777, comes directly from the web service here, that you provide the integer value, and it just echo back, you enter whatever web value that you have provided. Alright, so that's your web application here working with the WCF service. Alright, so the last thing I want to show is how to convert this web service into a RESTful service. So let me just get rid of this web application now because I don't need this anymore. Alright, there are two things I need to do. The iService one. Okay, this is where you're going to specify your contract to tell the client to use the URL to access your service. And this is what you need to type in. Web get, this is basically getting from the web. Specifying the URI template is going to look like this. Get data. So I'm going to get the user to type in get data in the URL and then supply a value, and that's basically it. The only thing you have to be aware of is that through the URL you cannot have an integer, everything is string, so you have to change it into a string for the get data. If you do that for the interface, you have to do the same thing for the actual implementation, so it's string. Alright, and we're almost done, except the only thing that you need to do is to go to the service and tell Visual Studio to create the code to work with the URL access. Okay, and this is done by factory equals to system dot service model dot activation dot web service host factory. Alright, I hope I didn't make any mistake here. System.service model.activation.web service host factory. Alright, so I think we are all done here, so save up everything, and when you right click on the service.svc view in browser, you should get something like this, endpoint not found. And it's normal because we don't have an endpoint anymore. Everything is going through the URL. But now, as a RESTful service, as you know, everything comes from the URL, so get data. And now I can type in anything. If I type in an integer, it'll treat it just like a string. It'll come back as an XML document. You enter whatever you have typed in. If I type in something like hello there, it'll come back as a string hello there. So now you have a RESTful service just by adding 2 more lines of code, and your WCF service has turned into a RESTful service running on WCF. Alright, hope this helps, and we'll see you another time. Thank you.